friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how I make dilled potato salad. Now I like a good mustard potato salad, but I wanted to do this for a little change up in plans. I'm serving this with brats tonight, so I thought it would be good together. First thing I did was go ahead and boil my red potatoes. Now you can use regular potatoes if you like, but I found that red potatoes hold together a little better. You want your potato salad to have a little texture. So while those are cooling off, I am going to go ahead and chop up 3 stalks of celery pretty finely. I'm doubling the recipe, so if you are just cooking this for a smaller family, you'll want about 10 red potatoes, good sized red potatoes, 1 stalk of celery, and then once you get your celery all chopped up, you're going to want to chop up a small or half a white onion, also pretty finely. Now you can grate your onion if you like. I have done that in the past, but every time I grate an onion, I swear it's chemical warfare in the kitchen and my eyes just suffer. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and chop this up. And this is a really simple recipe. This came together in like 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, no time at all. The longest part of the process is boiling the potatoes and the eggs and then chopping up your celery and onions. You can, for this recipe, change the measurements if you prefer more Dijon mustard or less boiled eggs or no boiled eggs at all. Make this your own recipe. Like, for example, today I'm going to be using fresh dill. If you don't have fresh dill, use the dry stuff. It's fine. It works. It all works out in the end. This is your food. You're cooking it for yourself, so make it the way you like it. I'm going to add a cup and a half of sour cream. If you're just doing a single recipe, you want 3/4 cup of sour cream. And then to that, I'm also going to add a cup and a half of mayonnaise. Again, if you're doing a single recipe, 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. Any brand, that's fine. If you like it a little sweeter, I suppose you could use Miracle Whip, but we don't really like Miracle Whip in the house, so I'm just using plain mayonnaise. And I'm just adding this all to a large bowl. Clearly, if you're making less potato salad, you need a smaller bowl than I do, but I was going to play it safe this time. My bowl is never big enough, and I was going to make sure this time it was big enough. So to the mayonnaise and the sour cream, I'm going to add my onions and my celery. And the next 2 ingredients are flexible too. I'm adding Dijon mustard. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. If you prefer yellow mustard, put yellow mustard in there. I think at that point, though, it would kind of just be regular mustard potato salad. But, if you don't like Dijon, you don't like Dijon. It's not a big deal. Add whatever kind of mustard you like. If you like, stone ground mustard, put that in there. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. If you don't like apple cider vinegar, just use white vinegar. When I'm making mustard potato salad, I actually just use pickle juice instead of vinegar, which, basically the same thing. It just adds more dill flavor. And then I'm going to add a teaspoon of celery seed. If you have celery salt, you can use that. I don't, so I'm just going to use some celery seed in its place. And then I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste. You could also add some red pepper flake if you like it a little spicy. I left that out this time. Normally I put red pepper flake in everything that I cook, but I just thought I would leave it out this time. And then I'm going to add my dill. Now I will say if you're using dried dill, you probably want to use, if you're making an individual recipe, you're not doubling it like I am, you probably want to use like maybe a teaspoon and a half of dill weed if it's dried. But again, just like with salt and pepper or anything else in this recipe, it's to taste. I really enjoy the flavor of dill. I really, really enjoy the flavor of fresh dill, so I went a little ham with the dill, but that's okay. It tasted really good. So now I'm just going to get my whisk, and I'm going to kind of whisk all of this together to make sure it's incorporated so that when I add my potatoes in, I don't really have to fight with it to get it, mixed up well. And make sure when you're whisking it that you splatter it everywhere because, messes and all that in the kitchen. And once you get it all mixed together really well, make sure that you taste it so see if you need to add anything. See if it needs more vinegar. I needed more salt and pepper, but yeah, always taste your food. You can always add more seasoning, but you can't take away. So better to err on the side of caution. So once we get all this mixed together, the only thing left to do is to add our boiled eggs. Now I'm using 6. If you're doing a regular recipe, just use 3 or however much your little heart desires. I'm using my pastry cutter to cut these up because I didn't want to mess up my cutting board. Boiled eggs just kind of leave like a creamy residue all over your cutting board, and I didn't want to deal with it. So I just pulled out my pastry cutter and I chopped them up like this, and it worked out really well. So I don't know, kitchen hack maybe? So get them all chopped up as small as I want them. And then I'm gonna put them in with the sauce that we made. I'm not gonna bother mixing them in right away. I'm just gonna mix them in when I mix in the potatoes. So the last and final step to this is just to chop up your red potatoes. You can leave them in big chunks. You can chop them up really small, however you prefer it. I cut them in like 1-inch pieces, bite size. Now they are gonna fall apart a little bit when you mix it, but I found that, cutting it into 1-inch pieces keeps some texture. So it's not just uh, potato salad, mashed potatoes. And I started off strong using the cutting board here. And you're gonna see me commit like a gigantic kitchen faux pas here in a second because I got tired of fooling with these potatoes on this cutting board, having to pick up the cutting board every time I'd cut up like 2 or 3 potatoes. So you're gonna see me do what I normally do off camera, and that is to pick these potatoes up with a smaller knife and just cut them directly into the bowl. So if that is going to bother you to watch me cut these in the bowl like my Appalachian granny did, you might want to look away here in just a second. This really is faster for me, and I don't have to struggle to pick up all of the pieces that break off of the potatoes when I'm cooking them. But, you do what works for you in your kitchen. When I get all the potatoes cut up and added, I'm just going to give this a really good mix. I'm going to try to stir as gently as possible so that I'm not really tearing these potatoes up. And once I get it just right in the way I want it, I'm going to put the lid on the bowl and I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator and let it sit there all day long until I'm ready to cook supper. And by then, these potatoes will have absorbed some of the extra dressing and it is absolutely delicious. So I hope that you give this, dilled potato salad a try. If you're still here, I want to say thanks for watching. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Jen. I do cooking, canning, and food preservation videos every Tuesday, and I post garden vlogs every Friday. If you're into that sort of content, I really hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel and sticking around. We have a really great group of people here, and we would love to have you. If you give this potato salad a try, leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about it. Do you make something like this in your house? If you do, how do you do it differently? Until next time, friends, happy cooking!